Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Radiant Skin Summit. Today, joining us is Charmaine R. Cooper. Charmaine is an author, an educator, and a passionate skin enthusiast. She has trained adult learners and skincare experts for over 24 years. She is very committed to helping people transform their lives and to being successful in their skincare journey. Charmaine, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us and being willing to share your knowledge with us as we all embark on this journey for healthy skin.
So
So,
honored to be here. Thank you. Thank you for having me, Nadia.
awesome. I will start by making a confession. It wasn't until earlier this week that I realized I had a myth about acne and my skin. I truly believed, without even knowing it, that I had to pop my pimple for it to go away. And because one of our speakers spoke to us about the dangers of popping pimples, not that we didn't know we'd suffer with scarring for a very long time, but just the whole fact that it could lead to a mental disorder, etc., like picking your skin and popping pimples, all of these things. I was very conscious about not doing it, and then very surprised when the pimple disappeared. Can you talk to us about some of the skin myths that are out there that we probably don't even realize that we have?
Oh, absolutely. First and foremost, Nadia, you are not alone in that. I think if not the whole world, we have all experienced and at one point at least believed that. And we see these myths are actually passed on through tradition and through, you know, malpractices when we're kids and what our parents have taught us. But it's never with ill intent. It's just genuinely thinking, well, how can I improve? So we pick up these habits, some of them not being so great, and we make them our own. So don't feel bad. I've been there with you, whether we're professional or not. I think the human race can all relate that we are learning and growing. When it comes to skin, I absolutely have to say that there are too many myths that still linger. One of the most popular ones I've heard over the years, training various professionals and working with clients and working on clients, is that, you know, I'll use skincare when I start to age. So
Mm,
I'll tell
mm,
you, aging starts the moment you exit your mother's womb. So what they're actually talking about is when I start to see the signs of aging in my skin. And one of my passions, being a skin professional of color that treats all skin, I believe all professionals should be able to treat all
yeah.
ethnicities. But one of the major things that I've seen with skin of color, darker Fitzpatrick, darker skin hues, my clients, and also friends and family, they don't believe that they age, period. So, and that has been a tradition that
Yeah.
has passed down through the ages. And I can
Mm,
attest, being from a West Indian, Caribbean descent, that is
yeah.
still lingering and very strong. So we've heard black don't crack. That's not true. And unfortunately, it's something that is believed. So I think we need to re-educate ourselves to know that prevention is the better approach rather than
Mm,
correction. Yes, we have great treatments and procedures and formulations
yeah.
that can really help to reverse and help the aging that's already there, that's showing, but prevention is absolutely key. And you can start as young as in your teens. So I think what you said, Nadia, about not picking or popping our pimples, that's something that we all picked up as teenagers or preteens. So we are actually aggressively aging that area in our skin when we add trauma. I call it trauma and drama. When we add trauma to that site in the skin. So
Mm,
we're causing inflammation, and therefore we're causing strain on the collagen and the elastin network that's around that unit, that pilosebaceous unit. So it's a whole thing. But yeah, aging happens once we are born. We need to be able to prevent premature signs of aging and every ethnicity will see the signs eventually, sooner or later.
Wow. Yeah, that's powerful. Um, I absolutely didn't think about when you popping your skin, the kind of trauma that
Yes,
you're inflicting on it, and that it's tied to aging, right? Like it,
that's
it
right.
really damages your skin. You also made a really good point about this being passed on from previous generations,
Got it.
right?
Yep.
Because one of the reasons I'm passionate about what we're doing right now is so that we can stop it at our generation. Like,
Awesome.
I don't want my son, I don't want my nieces to go through some of the damaging things that I have done to address my skincare issues.
That's right.
So it's really about ourselves and the future generations
You
to
got it.
come.
You got it.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
can you tell us a little bit more about, since we've all done it, how to deal with hyperpigmentation? Like, how do we address it once we've popped it,
Once
scratched
it's
it?
there. Yeah, I love that question because it is the most popular question I've gotten over my tenure in the industry. Hyperpigmentation, because it's not just limited to darker skin. Every skin hyperpigments, but there's different forms. There's a reddish purple color, or maybe a brownish or a darker brown. But nonetheless, it shows that spot in the skin that's just like an eyesore. So I'll say this, and I teach this still when I'm teaching professionals or adult learners or new professionals. If you can remember this, this will help you, and it will help you in how you treat your skin, how you care for your skin. That is, inflammation brings about pigmentation. I'm going to say that again. Inflammation brings about pigmentation. So, like you said, Nadia, when we give that trauma and drama to the skin, we're causing inflammation. And inflammation will stimulate, no matter what shade you are, the pigment cell. And the pigment cell is there to obviously give us our hue. It has protective components in it. But if it's stressed, because inflammation is there, it will produce erratic pigmentation, which is abnormal. It's not normal, it's abnormal. And so what are inflammation triggers? They can be wrong products, they can be squeezing a pimple, they can be improper diet, they can be stress, like one of your other speakers talked about that you learned. It can be a myriad of so many different other things, but it's the glycation, and I'm going to say that very carefully because it's referred to by physicians and dermatologists as advanced glycation end products. What that means is that when there is advanced glycation, which AKA is inflammation, it stimulates all of these enzymes that we don't want stimulated in the body. And that's collagenase. If you can just think of ASE at the end of these root words, it tells you what this enzyme destroys. So when collagenase is awakened by inflammation, it destroys collagen. That's why acne scars that have had so much trauma get ice pick scarring, because the collagen has collapsed, literally. I remember Young and the Restless years ago because I was addicted to that show as a kid. But Victor Newman, before he had his laser surgery, he had crater scars, still a very attractive, sexy man, but he had crater scars. So that's as a result of when we were young. So collagenase was awakened in his skin and destroyed the collagen. Elastase is another one. Hyaluronidase is another one. So it destroys our moisture, our hyaluronic acid, and it destroys our elastin. That elasticity that we all so covet in our skin, hard to get that back once it's gone. So glycation, which is inflammation, will stimulate pigmentation, and it pretty much stimulates everything negative in the skin. It's like a cascade of horrible things that are happening that doesn't have to happen if we have the education around that. So if the inflammation stimulates the pigmentation can last, Nadia, from 6 to 8 weeks, if not longer, because it stands beyond. You know that, we've experienced it. So it's like, The zit was what, 5, 7, 9 days max. And that spot will stay with us for
Yep.
weeks, sometimes 2
Yeah.
months.
Yeah. Yeah. What do I do, Charmaine? What do I do?
So one of the great things about hyperpigmentation is that it can be reversed. It can be repaired with cooperation, with diligence and patience and commitment. It can be definitely addressed. Exfoliating regularly so that you can get those dead skin cells off of the skin and bring up those new hydrated cells. You're also going to get a brighter, more radiant skin. And I like to say, don't be afraid of chemical exfoliants. I know we live in a generation where we believe the word chemical means bad and natural means good, but that's not always true, because natural by mere definition means it was produced by nature, it was found in the earth.
Right.
Well, we know that mineral oil comes from petroleum, which is in the earth. That's not good for the skin. It's a blocking barrier. But things like hydroxy acids, alpha hydroxy acids, like glycolic comes from sugar root or sugar beet. Lactic acid is a lactose derivative, fermented. There's also salicylic acid, which is amazing because it's anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, and it loves to find where the oil hides. And that comes from willow bark. These are as natural gets. So I feel like there's this whole myth around chemicals bad, naturals good. That's a marketing ploy that has really been driven into the ground. And if you were not educated, you know, the end consumer, our friends, our family, they believe the hoax and that they actually bypass the great ingredients that can support the natural cell renewal to get rid of hyperpigmentation. I hope that makes sense. I kind of went on a tangent.
No, that's good. Yeah, to understand the peels that we can use.
Yes.
So before I jump into some of the questions and also talk about our free gift for those in attendance, I wanted to ask about laser laser rejuvenation. What are your thoughts on that?
Laser is such a great option for so many people because it is the use of energy. And the use of energy has been used for decades for healthcare. It's been used for generations of caring in other niche markets, but it became fairly new in the skincare market around the 60s. So actually came on the forefront. It was really developed more, but it's the emission of energy, light energy. Thank you to Isaac Newton. So light energy that is stimulating, I'll say it this way, the dormant energy in the body. We all have homeostasis. We all have, I mean, if you get hooked up to a hospital machine, you're going to see that you got energy, right? So we all have these electromagnetic energy in our body. So this is actually awakening vitality. So laser rejuvenation is so amazing. Brilliantly enough, it can stimulate collagen. It can stimulate so many other things. I think I see a hand, another question coming up. So I'll quiet myself in a minute. But it's so good. I will say this, however, when you're dealing with a darker skin, you got to be careful with the type of laser. Laser is not a scary thing when you understand the wavelength and where it goes in the skin and how it can impact different skin hues. But a YAG laser is amazing, obviously, for darker skin. And that has really come to the surface in the 70s and more on as we go through our just being more tech savvy and what have you.
Oh, that's great. I didn't know about that. Okay, so we'll go first to the chat, and then Maureen has a hand up. Can you address this question, self-care practices when it comes to rosacea?
Oh, it's good. That's a great
and
question.
Preventing flare-ups. Yeah.
So rosacea, as you know, is a skin type. It is a genetic disease that cannot be cured. However, It's not a death sentence. It definitely can be managed. And obviously in your early stages, it's absolutely manageable. But in higher stages, we absolutely, as professionals, always advise a dermatologist to be able to treat that. However, with introductory levels like telangiectasia, which is flushing and blushing, it's the inflammation. So if we go back to inflammation is what awakens these enzymes. Remember the enzymes? The hope that we have is that when we can keep that skin less inflamed, manage the inflammation, we can actually see that it's impacting how we prevent early signs of aging or aggressive aging. And inflamed skin tends to age quicker only because there is so much expansion and constriction with the blood vessels, so much going on. So if I had a balloon and I was doing this all the time and just stretching it, a brand new balloon, eventually it would get squiggly and it would actually lose its shape because there's so much tension. So our capillaries, which is what gives the redness, it's the inflammation in our blood vessels that can actually stimulate more inflammation that can get out of hand. So if we can control that, and there are great ingredients to do that, ruscus extract, shea butter, there's so many great ingredients that can help to calm and manage an inflamed skin. Hydration is key for that skin as well, because whenever the skin is susceptible to invasion of antigens, it's probably less defended. So we want to make sure we get the right lipids. I'm using that word carefully because oil tends to be like oil on my skin. There are healthy oils, which we call lipids. And then there's also great moisture. So we want a moisture, we want to calm, we want to soothe, but we cannot cure it. But that in itself is a great treatment against aggressive aging in the skin.
Yeah, that's a great answer. And just for Natasha, we did discuss some of this on some of the other calls, because I know we had mentioned certain foods you could eat and certain foods you should avoid. So yeah, please watch the recordings. But thank you, Charmaine. That was good. And we'll let Maureen ask her question and then we'll talk about the giveaway.
Okay.
Hi.
Hello, Lauren.
Hi. My question came about when you were speaking about exfoliating the skin.
Yes.
Then you went right into answering my question, because my next question was to ask about chemical peels. I have been watching YouTube and I have heard a lot about it. And I have a coworker who did it. She said she paid over $4,000 for it. And then I hear people on YouTube talking about it being $200 about it. So my questions are, what do you think? Well, you did say you encourage us to have a chemical peel, but are there different types of chemical peels that we should know about? Is one better than the other? And how often should we do those chemical peels, quote unquote?
Your question is such a rich question. I appreciate that well thought out question, because it's something that is misunderstood in the industry. So yes, not all chemical peels are created equally. And depending upon your skin condition, this is where professional treatment recommendation from a professional is absolutely significant, because they've trained themselves, or they've been trained to understand what the skin needs. So really quickly, Maureen, your oily skin, salicylic acid is the way to go. That is going to pretty much bring down it kills bacteria, brings down inflammation, so also an acneic skin, and it also helps to find where the oil hides. Bacteria hides in the oil. So I love that for an oily skin. I know that TCA is quite popular, especially in the States. It is banned in Canada, but you can get it. If you look hard enough, it's definitely available. I advise that a darker skin or melanin-rich skin would avoid TCA, because if it is stimulated too much, and let me back up a bit, what chemical acids do is that they injure the skin.
Right.
So it's called controlled wounding. It's not just going to be aggressive, out of control wounding.
Yeah.
It is controlled wounding, because the body has a beautiful response system that when it is injured, it fights back. So these are acids that within a controlled parameter, they injure the skin and the skin gets stronger, produces more firmness, more collagen, more elastin, all that stuff. TCA is too aggressive for darker skin. In my experience and my opinion, the TCAs that I have seen, which is why Health Canada is quite strict on it in Canada. God bless their heart, because Canada is one of the strictest bodies of drugs and cosmetic, what's the word I'm looking for? Governing bodies.
Yeah.
Exactly. They're one of the strictest out of all the ones in all the countries. So another great one for dehydration and age spots is lactic acid. That is so good because it brightens, targets wrinkles. And I'll say one more that I love, and I think that was given a bad rap over the years, glycolic acid. Because glycolic is a small molecule and it's great to stimulate collagen. And on different percentages, it can actually act as a carrier vehicle to pack other ingredients in it and deliver to the deeper layers of the epidermis. So there are quite a few, but I would recommend, Maureen, if you consult with a professional, they can give you the combination, the complexes that are available, because there are great ones, but it all depends on your skin type and skin condition.
Great, thank you.
Okay,
That's so good to know.
can I have a follow-up question?
Okay.
No, but based on what you've spoken about, and you said that it's good to get professional help to determine your skin type and what product would be good on your skin. My next question would be, how do you go about choosing a professional? Because I mean, I'm a woman of color, and I mean, there's a stigma out there, or, you know, whatever you want to call it, that not every dermatologist can treat our skin type.
No.
So how would I know who I would go to for that type of help? Like, do I just go on Google and Google maybe, you know, the dermatologists around and see what people are saying? Or, you know, I'm just trying to get some idea as to how we would go about.
It's such a great question. And I mean, I'm not trying to run ahead here, Nadia, but I do talk about it in the book, because this is absolutely, Maureen, you hit it on the head. It's a major issue. And I call it cultural competence. And just as doctors should have competence, I'm talking to GP, competence about treating humans, period. I'm a proponent that professional skin therapists should be able to care for skin. You got skin, you should be able to go anywhere. And that's just simply not the case, which is what you have experienced in many of us as well. So one of the things I talk about in the book is that you actually go into a set of questions. So you do have to do some research, get some recommendations from friends or family, but you do have to go in with some questions. Don't let them be the ones always asking you. And then when you go through those questions, I've got a whole chapter just talks about the types of questions you want to ask without them feeling like you're drilling them, but it's your skin and you don't want to risk that with someone who is not comfortable with treating ethnic skin. I'm talking all skin, including dark skin. So I can connect with you after, Maureen. I can go in more detail, but yes, you do have to do your research, and you don't just want to go anywhere. And it should be someone who can treat all skin, but you don't have to look for, and I personally know many out there, you don't have to look for someone who looks like you. And that is a myth that has lingered in this industry. Well, she's Asian, so she can treat Asian skin. She's Caucasian and he can treat Caucasian skin. Oh, she's a, African-American, she can treat African. No, you're a professional. You got to live up to that title.
Yeah. So do you want to share with us how somebody could win a copy of this book?
Maybe you can win it, Maureen. But anyone, and this is a book that I actually just released this particular June. It's a labor of love, because it's also a lot of shared stories like yourself, Maureen, that you shared from skin professionals and non-skin professionals over the years. We just accepted that darker skin was just not on an education level on par with other skin. So we're making a change with that. And I am actually going to be gifting someone this, mailing it directly to you. And I'm not sure, Nadia, if you had a way that you want to do it, or okay. If you follow me on Instagram, I'll just say it that way. Or if that's a way that works for you, you can go ahead and tag a friend maybe in one of my posts, and you will be entered into the draw. And I'll do the draw by Saturday, by end of day Saturday. And then I'll let the person know, and I will ship this directly to you. Shipping waived, obviously, directly free of charge to you. As a thank you.
That's awesome. It's Christmas, free gift. Let's do it.
It's Christmas. And this is volume 1. I'm actually going to be releasing volume 2 early 2022. Okay. So I'm really excited about that.
Okay, tell us a little bit more about volume 2 and what else exciting is happening. We would love to support you in your work. So share with us, please.
Thank you so much, Nadia. So again, this is a passion of love that started. I knew I needed to write a book in the year of 2020. It was a very sobering year for all of us. And we want to know how we can make a difference in the industry. And for me as an educator, it has to go to education. It can't just be about, well, you need to do that. And it's not about pointing the fingers. It's what can we do? And I'm an educator. So I looked online looking to see if there were works or volumes on caring for darker skin. I didn't see any at the time. And I felt that little nudge on the inside of me. It's because you're going to do it. You're going to do it. But many people have done it since. So I know that I'm not alone in that. And I've seen that now. So volume 2 is more specific to, Maureen had asked that question about laser. We're going to be talking about laser. We're going to talk about more professional aggression to effectively and confidently treat darker skin. I spent a whole bigger chunk of the book also talking about cultural competence. I call it CQ, which is cultural intelligence. Not being able to say black don't crack because you heard that. I mean, that's just culturally incompetent. That's just not true. So volume 2 is going into more depth. This is more intro level for a skin pro or even someone who's not a professional, but passionate.
Yeah, that is exciting. Like, we need to become professionals about our skin. It's the largest organ we have, right? We're covered head to toe. So we need to develop some level of expertise on that. I had one more question and then we'll probably close. Skin lightening versus, Maureen, did you have a question?
Sorry, I wanted to ask if you had time for one more question.
Okay, go ahead, Maureen.
Okay, sorry. I just wanted to ask, since you mentioned laser, that was my next question. So how would you deal with, say, for instance, somebody who has ingrown hair on their face? And usually, I guess we would pick it out and then it would scar. I've heard and seen people use laser before. Some of them are successful, some of them are not. Excuse me. So what would you recommend for somebody who has ingrown hair on the face and also has an acne issue?
Oh, it's a good combination. It's very popular, especially male clients, not just a female thing. So that's called folliculitis barbae. And it is quite complex because it's the hair that's regrowing in a spearheaded method in the pilosebaceous unit that's causing inflammation, therefore stimulating pigmentation. So yes, laser hair removal is one thing, but if it is causing, this is where a professionally competent skin professional who knows what she or he is doing, you are in safe hands. But if they do not have that confidence, you can cause so much thermal injury because you are lasering that hair and you're finding, and the laser is attracted to dark. So I'm wearing a black shirt right now. If I was out in the sun in the middle of the day, a black shirt pulls energy. It pulls the sun over a white shirt. So the darker the skin, it's harder to focus just on the hair. So the laser could actually stimulate the skin around the hair. That's the danger or the cautionary measure with darker skin because we have larger, deeper melanin. But there is a way to do home care exfoliation, calm the skin, kill bacteria, and go with a competent laser practitioner. So again, I don't think we have the time to go into it today, but
Yeah.
book two will go into it. And we can even talk on Instagram if you wanted to directly message me. But one more quick thing, Nadia, you said bleaching versus skin lightening. Is that what you're going to ask? Difference of that? Because that's a
Yes.
huge myth it's a huge, I'll say epidemic within darker communities, East Asian, Asian, and also African cultures. This is
Yeah.
steeped in the culture about bleaching the skin. Lighter and whiter is better. Well, we know that's not the case. So we're about brightening and illuminating, not about bleaching the skin. So bleach actually is found as a hard carcinogenic and also a steroid, which can leave mercury deposits in the liver.
Yeah.
So it's very dangerous for the health, but it's so culturally steeped that some individuals don't care that it's hurting their health. They are desperate to look lighter. So it's a layer that has to really come through traditional education, and it's a generational thing. But again, I go into more detail in this book. I talk about it, and I go into more detail in number 2 as well.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. And we are hungry for more. As Natasha put in the comments, we want brightening and illuminating and radiant skin. That's what we want for 2022.
Love it.
Thank you guys for this interesting conversation. Thank you for your questions. Thank you, Charmaine, for just shedding light on some of those myths that we have and giving us some tips for how to approach things differently, right? Approach with knowledge. So everyone, you've been part of Radiant Skin Summit. Thank you for being here. Share with your friends. I will be sending the recordings for everyone and invite them to sign up so that they can take part in the next interview. It's iamlucent.ca. Thank you. See you next time.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.